Hello, my name is Julia Smithbrake, and I am World Vision's Senior Adolescent Programming Specialist with the Global Child Protection and Participation Team.
Hi, my name is Paul Stevenson. I'm the Technical Director for the Child Protection and Participation Team within the Technical Service Organization.
Hello, I'm Ranjika Varkagoda, Regional Sponsorship Advisor for South Asia, and I'm sitting with the sponsorship team.
Over the past few years, World Vision has been increasing its investment and focus on adolescent programming, including equipping specialists and field staff with the knowledge and skills to lead, measure, and promote adolescent programming across different sectors. There's no universally agreed age ranges for the terms adolescence and youth. However, for consistency and measurement purposes, World Vision defines adolescence as children ages 12 to 18 years. Why is it critical for World Vision to invest in programming for adolescents? This video will go over some of the reasons World Vision has decided to focus more on this life stage.
Nearly 90% of the world's 1.2 billion adolescents live in developing countries, accounting for nearly 1/5 of the world's population. Adolescents are disproportionately represented in countries where critical challenges exist. Those with the lowest incomes, the highest levels of political instability, and the fastest rates of urban growth. Those most exposed to civil strife and natural disasters, and most vulnerable to ravages of climate change. The adolescents of these countries will be the next generation, and as such will need to be equipped with the skills and capacities to address such challenges. But apart from the challenges, the opportunity to invest in this second decade of life has been called a demographic dividend because of the historic population bulge. Investing in adolescents here and now can lead to wide-scale social and economic advancement in developing countries.
Close to 50% of World Vision's registered children are adolescents. Field officers have a commitment to strategically program for 1.7 million children that are ages 11 and above. As World Vision's program continue to age, the number of registered children in this life cycle stage will likely to continue to rise.
Investing in adolescence is the most effective way to consolidate the historic global gains achieved in early and middle childhood in the past 30 years. There has been considerable progress in the reduction of under 5 mortality, the near elimination of gender gaps in primary school enrollment, and improved access to primary school, safe water, routine immunizations, and antiretroviral drugs. All of this progress achieved for children in early and middle childhood. But the lack of attention devoted to adolescents is threatening to limit this impact of these efforts in the second decade of life. In addition, if early investment in the most vulnerable children is not followed up by later investment during adolescence, its effect at later stages is lessened, meaning the value of World Vision's investment is reduced.
World Vision's ministry goal places priority on the most vulnerable children, and in many contexts, violence, exploitation, abuse, and neglect have the biggest effect on adolescents. Over 47 million adolescents aged 15 to 17 are involved in child labor and hazardous work. Nearly 1 in 4 adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 worldwide is married or in union. These girls are at risk of school dropout, domestic violence, and HIV. In fact, 1 in 3 adolescent girls aged 15 to 19 worldwide have been victims of emotional, physical, or sexual violence committed by their husbands or partners. More than 1 in 3 students worldwide between the ages of 13 and 15 experience bullying on a regular basis. In addition, girls and boys are experiencing different challenges in these decades with intensified gender inequalities. World Vision's It Takes a World campaign targets these issues by leveraging field office programming as well as national, regional, and global advocacy in line with the Sustainable Development Goals.
Working with adolescents is the key to breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty. Adolescence is the pivotal decade when poverty and inequity often pass to the next generation, as poor adolescent girls give birth to children who will likely also endure poverty. This is particularly true among adolescents with low levels of education. Adolescent malnutrition also has long-term consequences if nutritional deprivation is passed on to their children, which then affects children's overall well-being. Adolescents need to be equipped to address the challenges facing their generation. The adolescent stage is a critical period of development during which young people experience important transitions. Previously, scientists believed that brain development slowed down after early childhood, but recent studies show that around age 11, there is an explosion of new brain activity that affects emotional, physical, and mental abilities. Adolescents also play a huge role in their own development. The Convention on the Rights of the Child legally affirms young people's rights to freely express their opinions and be involved in decision-making and actions that affect themselves and their communities. Poor employment and livelihood opportunities increase risk and vulnerability for adolescent girls and boys, especially when there is also a lack of options for vocational and life skills development. World Vision has an important role in working with local partners and young people to help them achieve their potential and be equipped as agents of change.
Child Wellbeing Objective 4 is children ages 12 to 18 report an increased level of well-being, including improved development assets and life skills. It is a mixed method objective, measuring adolescents' perception of changes to their growth and development as a direct result of their participation in interventions that strengthen their well-being. CWB4 is important because it is the only objective that captures the viewpoint of children. Also, the child protection minimum requirements have a goal to grow the scope and quality of protection effects in all area programs with child sponsorship. CPMR3 ensures that adolescent registered children ages 12 to 18 are directly participating in interventions that foster their growth, development, and meaningful participation. This requirement goes beyond the sponsorship RC participation standard.
Finally, following children's recommendations made at World Vision's Triennial Council meetings, a set of 4 operational requirements were approved by the World Vision International Board to enhance child participation in programming, advocacy, and governance decision-making. These requirements will strengthen our commitment to children's right to participate in decisions affecting their lives, building on existing guidance and processes. All field offices will be required to measure and report on progress annually to their respective boards. World Vision is an organization that strives to see the sustained well-being of children within families and communities, especially the most vulnerable. Programming for adolescents is a critical investment in order to fulfill this ministry goal. We want to work together with staff, partners, communities, and young people themselves to bring this investment further than we imagine.